Hello out there, this is Cammy White, and you're listening to Rushdown Radio.
With Street Fighter V having released their Championship Edition, that's cool, but that's not coming until February. Mortal Kombat 11 is sort of trickling in stuff, like we're gonna get Sindel in November, which is cool. Who knows when Tekken 7 is gonna update? And Guilty Gear's newest game isn't coming until late 2020, which leaves a pretty large gap of fighting games. And if you're a fan like me, you're gonna want to try and play something. I mean, yeah, BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle's about to get their update, and that's cool and all, but what are you gonna play in the meantime? Well, I just may have the game for you. I'm Anthony, and we are here to talk about Million Arthur Arcana Blood. Yes, we're finally going to talk about this game, and we're going to talk about whether or not it's worth your time, if it's good, why it's good if it's good, why it's bad if it's bad, and kind of break down what this game's all about. And there is quite a bit to get to, so let's go ahead and get started. Now, this is normally where I would talk about the story, but there is an entire anime dedicated to this game, so I would suggest you watch the anime. So with that, we're going to jump right into the gameplay. So the gameplay is kind of standard for people who have played anime fighters before. You have your chain combos, A, B, C. D is your elemental button. We'll get into elements in a moment. And this game has assists. You get to pick 3 of them, and they are each also tied to an element. And they help you either extend combos or break up pressure. So, elements, because that's kind of the big gimmick of this game. There are 3. Fire, ice, and wind. Fire is for damage. Ice is usually for more hits done. Wind is for regen. And of course, there's a countering system. Fire is countered by ice. Ice is countered by wind. Wind is countered by fire. So, if you are attacking another character that predominantly uses wind and you have an ice type, well, that ain't good for you. But assists also have these elements, and if you combine those elements with your character that is also tied to an element, then you get bonuses. It sounds like it's a lot to learn, but you'll naturally get the hang of it as you get to what assists work for you and the character that you want to play. Now, in the middle of the game, you have Enchant Boost and Limit Break. Limit Break is basically a burst that gives you more meter for some reason. Not sure why that is, but I mean, more meter is always good. And Enchant Boost just makes sure that all of your attacks have the element that you are assigned. So if you're a fire elemental, all of your normals are going to do fire attacks, which means you're really going to rack up damage, because as you continue to chain elemental attacks, you do more damage, and so do your assists. Now, like I said, sounds like a lot, but it really isn't. You will just naturally get the hang of it. Now, this game is a game that sounds like it has a whole lot going on, but I mean, it's not really that complicated. It's basically any other fighting game that you have to practice. It's not a whole lot. It's not overwhelming. It's not going to just have an information dump in front of you. This is a pretty simple game as far as anime fighters go, because some of them can get really wacky, but I think that this is on the calmer side of the spectrum. The most difficult thing that you may have to learn here is how to best optimize your combos to incorporate your elemental attacks so that you can maximize your damage. Now, there is a button dedicated to elemental attacks, and they are usually not cancelable, but if you're in your elemental burst mode, then they can be canceled for bigger damage. So practicing how to best utilize your elements is the most essential part of this game. That's this game's central gimmick, really. Other than that, a lot of these combos, they're not exactly like long combos, so if you're looking for a game that has really dumb long combos, this may not be the game for you, but it does get a little silly when you can kind of figure out the intricacies of your characters. Some of them have really powerful OGG options, some of them have really powerful setup options, and so on and so forth. So I think that this is a game that has some depth, but this is not like the craziest anime fighter you'll ever play, and that's not always a bad thing. When it comes to anime fighters, some of them can get a little overwhelming and just throw in every type of mechanic they can. This isn't that game, and I think this is a pretty accessible game for anybody who may want to try just kind of a tamer anime game because they've seen so many others and it's like, oh my god, this is a little too rich for my blood. All this air dashing and all that. No, this isn't that. I mean, it can be that in high level, but if you're just looking to pick up and play this game, it's most likely not going to be that nutty. Now, as far as the audio and visuals, let's talk about audio first. As far as the music is concerned, it kind of seems a little nondescript. I couldn't really remember a lot of the music of the backgrounds and such. The only thing that really kind of pops out at me is Iori's theme, but that's because I have been loving Iori's theme for many, many years, so of course I would pick that one up. But as far as this other music, it's okay. It's serviceable, nothing really like made me upset or anything like that. It's fine. Voices, I mean, they're in Japanese, so I really can't be like, oh, this is great voice acting because it's Japanese, but I mean, they sound passionate. As far as visuals are concerned, it looks great. I love these sprites. I'm assuming they're sprites, and I think they look amazing. I think the backgrounds look really good. Some of them are really well animated. Some of them are just like really bright and vibrant and don't clash too terribly with the chaos that happens on screen, because my goodness, the chaos that can happen. You can call in assist and there's all kinds of just flashing lights and just stuff always happening and just bursting with colors, which can be a little disorienting if you're not quite used to that kind of stuff. So this is your warning. If you don't like a lot of bursting lights and just colorful, I guess, color vomit is what I'm going to call it, then this may be the game that you want to skip away from, because when those visuals get going, when those effects are just all over the place, ugh. Now, I do have some gripes. For one, the load times are abysmal. Like, we're talking Tekken load times. And if there is one other theme I can remember other than yours, it's the thing that plays when the loading screen is happening. Because, my god, the loading. It's pretty bad. That's what I'm trying to get across here. And the online is just kind of meh. Like, it's when it's good, it's good. It's like really good. But when it's bad, which doesn't happen as often as you would think. I think this netcode is serviceable. I don't think it's the best, but I think it's far from the worst. This is nothing like, I don't know, like Guilty Gear levels of bad, or KOF 14 or 13 levels of bad, because those were dark times. This is not that bad. This is pretty serviceable. Especially, this is kind of one of those netcodes that the closer you are, the better. But sometimes you'll face people in Japan and it doesn't get too terrible, so that's a good thing. It also has plenty of modes. It has time attack, survival, it has arcade mode, it has story mode, practice, tutorial, which I'm glad is different because, like I said, there's a lot going on and people need to know about it. And gallery mode for some reason, I'm not really sure the big deal about that, but hey, more modes mean more content. This game does have plenty of content. It has plenty of characters you can learn. 31 assists? I forget the number, 31, 35, something of that number. Assists that you can learn to have back up your character and extend those really, really long combos, because that's where the combos are, these assists. Because man, do they get wacky. Anywho, looks good, sounds good. So, in conclusion, this is a pretty solid game. I really don't have too many gripes with it as far as the gameplay. I mean, it's not the most, I guess, it's not the deepest game ever, even though it has a lot going on. But I do think that it has enough here that people will enjoy. I kind of think of it as fighting game junk food. This is something that you can enjoy whenever. You can kind of spend a couple hours in training mode just to kill some time. and you'll have some fun. If you can endure those loading times, that's this game's biggest flaw to me. Those loading times are abysmal, and the online isn't that great. I have no idea about the story. I have not watched the anime. If any of you do so, you let me know what you think of that story. But for what is here, I think you should go ahead and grab it, and I am willing to give this game an A. If you've played it and you have your own thoughts, let me know what you think. If you think it sucks, let me know. If you think it's great, let me know. And I will talk to you all later.